And even as a young girl in my early 20s, I knew that something was flawed with that technique and something was flawed in the system. What I was suffering from was deep emotional wounds, and no pill would be able to truly heal me. I vowed at 22 to do something about that. I'm 45 today, and I have studied the impact of mindfulness meditation and yoga therapy on oncology patients at Northwestern's Feinberg School of Medicine, and I've witnessed firsthand the work, and through my work with the advisory board, or as a member of the advisory board for the David Lynch Foundation, taking transcendental meditation into high schools in some of the most war-zoned areas on Chicago's South Side. And through meditating with these students, and in the study that was funded by the University of Chicago's Crime Lab, get that. So the Crime Lab gave us a grant to study whether the meditation could help curb the violence and decrease the amount of in-school arrests on the city's South Side. The preliminary results are staggering. Most of these children have and suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome, equal to that of a war veteran from Afghanistan. They have no space for silence. So we created a space for them, meditating 20 minutes a day, twice a day at school, saving their lives. We know firsthand the immediate impact on brain waves through sitting still for 20 minutes, the calming effect in taking the brain waves down from beta to alpha. Our beta state is our normal waking consciousness state, logic and analytics. And our alpha brain waves is the relaxed and calm state considered the optimum zone for creativity and also programming the mind for success. We know that's how Phil Jackson took Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, B.J. Armstrong, and that dream team from the Chicago Bulls to a 3-time championship. And we know he went on to do that again for Kobe Bryant and the Lakers.
Assalamu alaikum, family, peace, healing, and light, and welcome back to another episode of Healing with Angelica's podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And if you are new to the show, welcome, beautiful souls. On today's episode, we have a beautiful guest joining us today, my sister, Dr. Iman Ali, as we'll be discussing today's topic, Healing Beyond Medicine, Exploring Energy Healing. Dr. Iman, thank you so much for joining me today. It is an honor to have you on my show. How are you? Oh, your hold on, wait, sis. Your phone, your thing on mute. Yeah.
Yes, Assalamualaikum. And thank you for having me, Sister Angelica. It's Sister Iman, by the way.
Iman. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, praise be to Allah. And for those who may not know, my sister, Dr. Iman Ali, did I say it right this time? Iman?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Iman Ali I would like to give you all a brief bio. So, Dr. Iman Muhammad Ali is a doctor of divinity and spiritual healing, Reiki master teacher, hypnotherapist, urban Zen integrative therapist, and clairvoyant and medium. Nation of Islam member since she was 16 years old, registered in Chicago in 1994, 30 years ago this June. Also a former editor assistant for the Final Call newspaper, former marketer director for Saviours Day. It's so many things. Created the 2005 Million Man March Image Award for Kanye West. Brought him to Mosque Maryam in 2005 to receive his award. Brought Freeway Rick Ross plus Frank Lucas together for a CD, I Am Woman Saviours Day workshop with Dr. Yalan Yavanset. I hope I said her name right.
Iala Van Sant.
Ella
Iala
Vansan.
Sant from the hit show Iala Fixed My Life with Oprah.
Yes, my favorite,
Yes.
actually. Yes. And
Yeah.
Suzanne Taylor also convened the influence of Islam on hip hop Saviours Day workshop with Rakim, Nation of
Rock.
Islam. Did I
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
Rakim?
Rakim.
Rakim.
Eric B. and
Rakim.
Rakim, the infamous. Yes.
Yes, yes. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm getting messed up with my words today. And poor and
Oh,
righteous teacher, etc. Also author of the introduction to Closing the Gap by Minister Jabril Muhammad, edited the book, came up with the subtitle Inner Views of the Heart, Mind, and Soul of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and wrote commentary on the back of It Is Possible the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still physically alive. Wow, you've done so many great works. All praises due to Allah. Now let's get started on today's episode, Healing Beyond Medicine, exploring energy healing. And please, again, I always ask, don't let me be the only one asking questions. For my audience today, do not hesitate to put any questions you may have for our guest, Sister Iman Ali, in the comment box below. So, what is energy healing, you guys? So, energy healing is a holistic practice that focuses on channeling and manipulating the body's energy field to promote healing, balance, and well being. Various techniques are used in energy healing, including Reiki, acupuncture, and meditation, and yoga, just to name a few. These techniques are based on a belief that imbalance or blockage in the body energy system can lead to physical, emotional, and spiritual distress, and that restoring the flow of energy can support the body's natural healing process. However, energy healing is more than just a different form of medicine. It is also the ability to heal oneself through spiritual powers we have already had ingrained in our being from God. So let's take a deep dive into energy healing and the profound pathway to wellness beyond traditional medicine, where ancient wisdom meets modern science, unveiling the remarkable capacity of the human body to heal itself through the power of energy and the opening of our spiritual gifts, unlocking the limitless potential of healing beyond conventional medicine. And that brings me to my first question for you, Sister Iman. Well, listen, we had a great conversation before the show, and I was like, oh my God, we got to save all this good energy for the show. So
right.
I do want to reiterate kind of what I asked you before we got on the show. But first question for you, Sister Iman, where did your journey begin with the start of energy healing?
Right. Yes, ma'am. All right. So it began in 2005. Okay. 2005, I was on a call. I think it was June of 2005. I was on a call with Minister Jabril, and he had been talking for quite some time. And I think I zoned out a little bit, and I started looking in a um, magazine, and I was looking at these mansions, and I said, "Oh man," I'm thinking in my mind, how am I going to uh, get one of these mansions? And before I could really get that thought out, I didn't say this out loud, of course, because he's talking, but I'm thinking it in my mind as I'm looking. And I hear the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in my right ear. So this is an ability they call clairaudience, to hear clearly. And so when I hear him, he says to me, ask me. And I sat up because I'm not in a sleep state. It's not a vision. Not dreaming. I'm wide awake, and there's nobody else in the house with me. So I'm like, oh, did I just hear what I think I heard? Before I could say that, he said it again, but then he clarified that he was talking specifically about the thought that I had had in my mind And he said, no, ask me for the house.
Mm.
And so then I quickly said something to Brother Jabril. I got off the phone with him. I did the prayer that the minister told us to do, that if ever we want something, ask for it in the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so I did that. It was the 10th anniversary of the Million Man March. And so earlier that year, I had given created the 2005 Million Man March Image Award for Kanye West. He had just won the Grammys for Jesus Walks. And so he was to come into Chicago to receive the keys to the city during our Saviours Day convention. So I had kept the award, even though he accepted. I kept the award, and I said, okay, we're going to bring Kanye to the mosque. So I just had this instinctive knowledge that if I keep the award, since he wasn't able to show up at Christ Universal, that I could get him to come to Mosque Maryam. And so that took place maybe about 3 weeks after I had this experience. Mother Tanetta and I were working together at the time. She was interested in bridging the gap between hip hop and classical. And so she wanted to do this presentation for the 10th anniversary. And so I had taken her to Detroit to meet with Russell Simmons and Eminem and a few other individuals, because, of course, at that time I was working in the entertainment industry. And so she wanted to meet Kanye. And so at the mosque there, after he received this award, we're in the back and she's getting, introduced and everything. But then the following day, we go to the final call, and she says, well, go over to the fax machine and see if I have a fax there. I'm waiting for something. So I went. And when I went over there, on the side of the fax machine was a flyer. And the flyer said, the family of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is selling the mansion. And immediately my mind went back to 3 weeks prior to when he told me to ask him for this house, this mansion. And long story short, it ended up being a house that he built, one of the four mansions across from the palace, which he built there on Woodlawn on the south side of Chicago. And this house was used to be the home of his daughter, Sister Ethel Muhammad, and Brother Raymond Sharif. Their daughters at that time owned it. And it's a long story, which I don't have time to tell it now, but every single thing that when I asked him, this house came. And then there were other questions that I asked because I'm like, wow, am I really communicating with him?
Mm.
And it was, to me, it was the proof that, yeah, I did speak to you. And, and this house, not just any old house, because if it was any old house, then people could say, oh, well, you manifested that by yourself. No, it was a house that he created, a house that he built. And then I actually went to a center while I was having these experiences with him. I went to a school in the city of Chicago that trained in people with psychic abilities, clairvoyant abilities, um, astral projection, things like that. And I went there to find out more about this experience that I had had, because I knew that they were sort of proficient in these types of things. And so that's when they, mentioned to me about my gift and ability and this experience that I had, what it was, what the proper name for it is, scientifically. And then they mentioned to me that I needed to um, learn how to use my gift, but then also how to protect myself. And
Mm.
so that began my first Energy 101 classes that I took in 2005 during this time period of having this communication with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he did everything that I asked. If I asked a question, I got an answer,
Mm.
and then he backed it up with something very tangible.
Yes.
So it was a very real situation. And then in 2000, 4 years later, of course, they wanted me at that time. They said that, well, you should go on and take the full training in clairvoyant, levels 1 and 2. And
Mm-hmm.
I, as a child, did not want to have the ability because my mother was born with this ability, and I used to hear her stories as a child, and it was very frightening, because I was like, oh, I don't want to have what my mom has. But I always felt that I could sense and pick up, but I didn't want to see. So I didn't necessarily take that the next step in 2005. But what happened was 2009, I was on the eve of working with Michael Jackson and the This Is It tour. And the night before he died, we were on a phone call with various members that were of the nation who were working with Michael at the time. I then got physically ill on the call. There was really nothing per se that could have made me that sick, like, nausea. And I said, oh, something is so wrong. And I went for a walk. I was living in New York at the time. Went for a walk. Was talking to a couple of people, telling them about this eerie feeling that I had around Michael, and that something was happening, something was wrong. And I did tell the brothers who I was on the line with that something was seriously wrong, and they were like, "Oh, you just emotional." And, oh, yeah, so they were like, "Oh, go sleep it off," and then in the morning, I mean, I said, "Yeah, in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the spirit reveals to me is what I'm going to do," because I had this experience 5 years, no, 4 years prior to, 2005, 4 years prior to, with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and
Mm-hmm.
confirmed that
Yeah.
I had this experience. So I'm like, no, I have to listen to whatever this is. And if it tells me not to do it, I'm not going to do it. And so the next morning I wake up and boom, it was a big NO. Like I could see the word "no" when I asked the question about Michael. And that very morning, I called the brother on the West Coast, and I told him, I'm not going through with working with Michael because there's something very wrong. Um, and I just explained it like energy. I used the
Yeah.
word energy. And he's like, you're going to turn down an opportunity of a lifetime to work with Michael Jackson because you feel an energy. You're so crazy. I was like, I was like,
Yeah.
he was really mad at me because Michael had saw the proposal that I put together that Monday, and he had approved it. He was in approval of it, and they actually used it. And This Is It, the same thing, the movie, the same thing that I put together. This whole
Mm-hmm.
concept. So it did come to pass. That did get over, but I said, well, you could say what you want. I just have to trust this. And I said, right now, Michael Jackson needs me more than I need him.
Mm.
And that was a strange word. Even when I said it, I kind of paused, like,
Yeah.
what's going on? And sure enough, later on in the evening, there's more to the story, but later on in that evening, Jermaine Jackson came before the cameras and tell the world that the King of Pop was dead. And so that was a moment, a real serious turning point for me, because it was a real serious validation of what I had been picking up energetically,
Mm-hmm.
what I was feeling. Um, I could not decipher at that time exactly that it was his death, but enough to say to individuals that morning that something was seriously wrong inside of Michael's camp. I then left and went back to that center because I'm like, okay, I know you guys wanted me to go forward. I guess I'm ready now. But they helped me through with Michael, and he absolutely came through and gave me information that that he was murdered. This was 3 days after his death. He said that he was murdered. He didn't do that to himself, so it wasn't an overdose, which was the way they were trying to make it seem in the media. So what happened after that, all of these dreams and all of these, then all people connected to Michael Jackson started showing up in my life one by one without me searching for them or trying to get them. And the first was his father. The second was his lawyer for the case, which was Londell McMillan. And they then ended up not going with Londell. And then Tito, Jermaine, uh, Marlon. I ended up on the Jackson Dynasty TV show that they did a couple months after Michael passed away. But one by one, more and more, they kept coming. And I'm like, okay, there's no way. So,
Yeah.
okay, so I went back to that center and then I began to train because I realized that I couldn't run from this. And
Mm,
something, a very serious revelation. And there's more to that. And so I started training, and I trained for 12 months straight in clairvoyance levels 1 and 2, all
yes.
levels of how to perceive information, energy, how to read energy, um, how to detect energy, how to manipulate and move energy out of your space, how to protect uh, mediumship, all of that. So that's how it started. And then some years later, Reiki came as
Mhm.
a result. But that's how it started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Funny, huh?
Beautiful. It's like it took you a few years to kind of like really dive deep into um the practice of energy healing. And seeing after you had that experience with Michael, I guess that was like a definite let me get in to see what I can do to.
Yeah. Well, it didn't start out as healing, it
Oh,
started out as energy reading, being
mm,
able to detect vibration and energy. And my first professional, uh, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in 1972 in the Theology of Time, in the True History of Jesus, about Jesus being taught the ability to tune up on the thought frequency of his enemies. Okay, so he went into that in depth. He called it radio in the head. He
mm,
said that it would be like a ringing in your ear, and it will be me or somebody else trying to communicate with you. So, of course, in 2005, when I hear this, him speaking, he said that he actually said those words. It will be me or someone else trying to communicate with you. Okay, so it's either we believe him or we don't, and
mm,
believe all of it, not take bits and pieces of what he said, because some people are very uncomfortable with this aspect of this teaching, but it's very real. And so I knew that, okay, he said it would be like, a telephone ringing in your ear, ringing in the ear, and I will be trying to communicate with you. So this, these abilities are our natural abilities.
mm,
We have lost contact with these abilities due to trauma from slavery.
ooh,
Okay, and so yeah, so that's how it started. It started out as the reading. So my first professional, quote unquote, reading happened at Macy's department store in where they hired us to kind of look at. It was a fun night of fashion with Anna Wintour, Vogue magazine, and because I'm in the entertainment world, everything kind of came by way of the entertainment world.
yes.
Even me training by Michael Jackson and all of that, and so that night, I was so nervous because we're on State Street in Chicago at the flagship store, and they had Kelly Osbourne and all these different celebrities were there, but I was in the designer handbag section, And so this nurse, this was a Caucasian woman who was a middle-aged uh, registered nurse. So she sits down, and I'm supposed to see what she's going to be buying in the store that night. And I saw her buying these Pandora bracelets. So I started talking to her about why she likes these bracelets, and you know, and it was just 10 minutes. And then when we finish, I open my eyes and I look at her, and she's just staring at me. And she goes, let me show you something. And she grabbed this little bag, Macy's bag, and then she had 5 boxes. And she started opening each box, and there were the bracelets. She had already purchased them.
Yes.
Literally was able to see what was in her bag. And
Wow.
she was like, oh my God, you're so good.
Yeah.
And it really made me like, wow, I could do this.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, no, I can't do this.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of how it started, and which was a real fun way to validate that. Um, but picking up on it with Michael Jackson, um, and then the healing came afterwards with Reiki. And what do you do with the energy to be able to heal?
Ex-
Yeah, that came afterwards, and I was able to use that, and have been, able to use that even with the project with Jay-Z and Will Smith that I did a few years ago called Women of the Movement. That
mm,
was an ABC mini series. If you anyone out there have not seen Women of the Movement, please do so. Go to Hulu. I think it's still available on demand. That is the story of Emmett Till and his mother, Mamie Till, the mother of the civil rights movement. And that whole piece was me being able to, I guess you want to say, go back in time. There's no such thing, really. Time is just relative, you
yeah.
know. There's no space or time. But being able to be on that set, giving birth to Emmett. So I played his mom's stand-in alongside with the lead actress. So she and I were Mamie Till on set. And so my first day on set was giving birth to Emmett Till.
Mm,
And I was able to run Reiki because I knew Reiki, and that Reiki could heal across timelines, across dimensions, across space and time. Okay. So I was able to use the little doll that they put in my lap or in my arms.
mm,
Uh, I immediately started running the Reiki for Emmett Lewis Till. He had a lot of trauma even coming into the world. He
wow.
did. And so they had to, he was breached, so they had to turn him. I almost fainted at that part because just seeing this, it's like you step into a portal
Yes.
doing this. And I knew that when I accepted the role of Mamie Till stand-in, that was a divine assignment, and
Mm,
I was being called upon to heal that, to heal Emmett, to heal his mom, to heal that time period. And the interesting thing is that we were working the whole time. I was working Reiki. Had my singing bowls on set. I
mm,
had my what do you call it? My sage, my crystals, because we were in Mississippi. We were right where all of it took place.
mm,
So you're on the land, you're in the atmosphere,
yes.
sort of recreating that, but stepping back into that vibration. So that is a powerful thing that you're able to do once you know that there is no uh, death is an illusion,
Mm,
and uh, you cannot. Even the Holy Quran says that, you know, they are not dead, but you perceive not.
mm-hmm.
So, what is the faculties of perception here? How do you perceive vibration? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that thought never dies, and we know that um, because a physical vessel, which is a body, is no longer present, does it mean that the thought and the vibration and the consciousness okay, can't be accessed.
Mm.
All right, so it's about the perception, and so we have different aspects of perception uh,
Yes.
with through our brain waves, our consciousness. So I talked about in the video about the brain waves, right? Um, why we have most of our visions when we're sleeping is because our brain waves are lower. Um, they're slower, and the slower the brain wave, the more powerful it is to be able to perceive beyond the three dimension
Mm.
3D world. Brother Jabril used to say that to me all the time, that the brain was most powerful when it's at rest. So he would always try to get me to calm down when I
Yeah.
would be kind of hyped up about something. Like I thought he was just trying to make me be quiet, but he would tell me to go and get in some hot water, as hot as you can take it, and then take a nap.
Mm.
And when you wake up, then you'll be in a different state. And I'm like, oh, he's trying to calm my emotions down, but
Yes.
science to what he was saying. And the lower the brain waves, there are certain brain waves that cause trance and trance states, and then there are certain vibrations or brainwave states that cause visions.
Mm.
So that's more when you're dealing with theta, lucid dreaming. We began to get into it, or tap it, the intuition, when you lower down into the alpha brainwave state. So that's the first brainwave state after beta, which we're in now, which is more outwardly focused. But you can achieve these without going to sleep. You can achieve them through meditation.
Mm.
Mhm. And so it's why what happened in 2005, now that I realize it, is that I had been meditating since 1995. So when I had that clairaudience experience with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I had been meditating for 10 years. It's a decade of
Yes.
practicing and mastering those states, those brainwave states, being able to get into trance, immediately and things like that. So, and then even more, so meditation is the gateway. Silence is the gateway. When Mother Tanetta asked the Honorable Elijah Muhammad how to tune in, that was her first question, kind of like my first question.
Mm.
Biggest question I wanted to know from Brother Jabril was how did he know when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was going to leave. I wanted to know that because that was fascinating to me. 3 years in advance,
Yes.
so you're dealing with what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that some of us are born with the gift of prophecy, and then others have to work at it through an intense study of history. So Brother Jabril, it's clear that he was born with that ability, because there was nothing that he could have studied, that could have got him to see that 3 years in advance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's departure. And
Mm.
then also, how did he know what to write the
Mm.
first time that got the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan up? He didn't do 2 and 3 drafts. He wrote it once. So we talk about the whole channeling, and there's a science to that, channeling and writing, divine writing, when it comes out. Some of you may have that too. You
Mm.
know, when you get in a zone, or you're in meditation, or you're at the prayer, and then you might start writing, and then you can't really stop, and it's like you're not really doing it. It's something else through you that's happening. That's how I did with Closing the Gap. That was a one shot. I just woke up that morning
Yeah.
and wrote that. But that was I was being used, to write that. I'm clear about that. But yeah,
Yes, yes. Woo! That is beautiful. You
um,
kind of answered like half of some of my questions.
I know.
So
When you ask me one question, I'm gonna go.
ain't,
I'm gonna go.
ain't nothing wrong with it. There's nothing
Yeah.
with that. Praise praise be to Allah. And if you
Yes, ma'am.
are enjoying this episode just as well as I am, please show your support by donating today by texting the word donate to 937-313-2466 today to help sustain future episodes just like this. Also, if you all are enjoying all of the episodes here on CTG Broadcast, shout out to the Closing the Gap. Please show your support by donating today. Information to donate will be shown on the screen below. I love you all. Now let's get back to today's show, Healing Beyond Medicine, exploring energy healing with Sister Dr. Iman Ali. Whew.
Iman.
Iman. Why do I keep saying that? Wait, tell me what I'm saying, because I
You
can't
said,
even.
I don't know. I don't
Okay, say it for me. Iman.
know. Iman.
Iman. I'm probably saying it wrong.
It's okay.
Forgive me, sis. Iman.
I
Praise.
just want your listening audience to get on you.
Yes, listen, get on me, because
Your
I will keep saying.
viewers. They'll be like, her name is Iman.
No, we got to get that name right. I can't. They got to know your name.
No, because that name means something. Iman
Yes.
in the hadith of Jibril, where he questions the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He said, "Oh Prophet, what is Islam?" And then the Prophet answers, and he said, "Okay, that's correct." Then he says, "What is Iman?" Okay, that's the second question. So Iman is the belief in the angels. It's
Mm,
beyond. It's a higher degree. It's belief in the metaphysical side of Islam.
yes.
So with me and my experiences, it's definitely the metaphysical side of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was fascinated with, of course, like Mother Tanetta, who was a forerunner for where we are right now. Most of what she was teaching is for now,
Yeah.
because back then, not few of us could even grasp, why is she dealing with a crystal skull? What does that have to do with the teachings of Dr. Elijah Muhammad?
Mm-hmm.
And all of that. But the technology is being used in medicine today. We know now that we have the crystals in our bodies, in our brains,
Mm-hmm.
pineal gland, so most visionaries are not understood by their contemporaries. And
Yes.
so you do have to sometimes suffer, with being alone and people thinking that you're off,
Yeah.
but they just haven't caught up. So this time that we're in is the fullness of time. So all mysteries are no more with the coming of Master Prophet Muhammad to reveal all truth. So
Mm-hmm.
we thank Allah for his coming. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And that just made me think about, because I know you were doing something during the solar eclipse.
Yeah.
What was your Can you give me your perspective on the solar eclipse?
Oh, well, I saw that as it was layered, of course. And I saw that as a sign of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's departure. And Master Fa Muhammad's eclipsing this world,
Mm,
knowledge, information, everything. Um, and I saw it like rapture. In the scriptures, talks about the rapture. Um, and I had an experience where I felt like there was a rapturous experience during that. But we're inside of the greatest transition on the planet ever, which is the ushering in of the kingdom of God and the crushing of this world that Yakub created. We are in that time as
mm,
we speak, and both things are going on at the same time. One world going out and another world coming up, right? And so some of us are already kind of transitioned over into hereafter, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. Many of my followers already in the hereafter.
mm.
Um, and then, you know, so people will experience what they have sowed. So whatever you have sown, you will reap. And wherever your vibration is, that's what's going to be amplified at this hour. Okay. The foolish virgins, five wise, five foolish virgins, all were told, 10 of them all were told that the bridegroom was coming and that dark period was coming. And they were told to prepare uh, their lamps with oil. And five of them did, and five of them didn't.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, when the darkness fell, the five that had oil were able to light their way. And the five that didn't said, "Oh, can we borrow from your light? Can we borrow?" They said, "No, you cannot. We won't have enough for ourselves. Turn
Mm-hmm.
back and seek a light." And when they turned back to seek the light, a door was raised, a wall and a door. And one side was mercy and the other side was chastisement. We're in that hour right now. Okay. So it's very important. It's just a small little window of being able to raise your vibration. Some will be quickened, you know, in the twinkling of an eye based off the quality of our heart. Even if you hadn't done everything that you're supposed to do, you may be granted some mercy and extension because of the condition of your heart. And you might be quickened, in your spirit, or things are happening all of a sudden,
Yeah.
um, people's conditions are changing all of a sudden. And so that's very real. So it's why I'm working really hard to hurry, and train as many of the believers in people in general in the Reiki frequency, because it raises the vibration so that
Mm-hmm.
you're able to be at a higher vibration, at your true vibration, versus the vibration of this world and all the traumas that have taken place. That you yourself can heal yourself, okay, by placing your hands on your throat, placing your hands along your heart chakra, your endocrine system. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who used to tell his guests, he said, I have a son that can heal with his hands.
Yeah.
And so, and he would call that son to the table so that he could put his hands on someone who had a headache and take their headache away. So, if each believer, if he's saying that back then with children, okay, uh, then each believer should be able to do the same.
Yes.
Um, we have that ability. Our bodies are created to heal itself. We just have to place it in the proper environment. Um, the minister said at Brother Jabril's janaza about Brother Kamal Kareem and Brother Abdullah Yassin, that they were able to look into a glass of water and see. Okay, Brother Kamal, as a child, was able to see and help avert a assassination plot on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He
Mm-hmm.
saw through the glass of water that there was a rifle that was buried across the street from the house. And when the FOI searched the bushes, they found the rifle.
Oh.
Okay. And so the minister asked the question, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked the question. The minister brought it up at the janazah. Well, why did Allah allow these children to have these abilities? He said, to prove that He is God,
Mm-hmm.
prove that we are God. Okay? So if a baby can do it, what can you do as a grown man, and woman? You have the ability. So it's about quickening our pace, so that we can um, accelerate our growth and move through this time that we're in.
Yes, yes. So would this be something to
I
where,
can't hear you.
hello?
It's gone out.
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Oh,
No.
yeah, I can't hear anything.
Can you guys hear me?
We lost signal.
Oh, hold on, wait, you guys. What's going on here?
Still nothing.
Yes, ma'am. You can. Okay, can my audience hear me?
No, I can't hear anything, sis.
Okay. Okay, y'all
Might
can.
be the vibration and frequency knocked it out.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness. Isn't that something?
Okay.
Energy
So,
is real. Let me see if I can move it.
okay. You got, okay, everyone can hear. Well, I don't think Sister Iman can hear. Can someone tell Sister Iman to come
We
in?
can't hear you.
Hold on, wait.
Oh my God, we got 10 minutes in the show too.
Hold on, wait. We got to get the last one in. Hold on, wait.
Yeah, no. It's not coming on. We're live 46 minutes.
Okay. Everyone hears us. I'm thinking she might
Somebody said something in the
have out.
chat. Come in and out. Coming in and out. Am I coming in and out? Out. You're not saying, I can't hear you at all. So I think it's just an interference here, energy wise. It's okay. We hit a point. Maybe we could do part 2.
Can someone please let Sister Iman know to leave out and come back in for me?
Oh, Bismillah.
All right, you guys. So you guys can hear me. I'm waiting on Sister Iman because I got one more question before we end the show. Okay. Well, see, the energy getting hot, y'all. They wasn't ready for this because this is something that we need to tap into. We are at this time and period in our life where it's time for us to connect back with our spiritual gifts. And just because of what we've been through, the trauma that we've been through, I always say post-traumatic slave disorder that we've been through, it has really disconnected us and really desensitized us from being able to connect with our spiritual gifts. So yes, praise be to Allah. Thank you guys for letting her know to come back in because I know I can hear her, but I think it was an interference on her end. So let's see what happens when she come back in and clear up these last 10 minutes. I see that we had a question here, and I actually have the same question. So I will be asking her that question before we get. Okay, let's see what's going on, y'all. Hold on, wait.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Woo! Oh,
Amen.
gosh. We're back. Praise be to Allah. Oh my gosh. They was hating on our energy on the show. They didn't want us to talk about it, sis.
I know it. You're
Energy
powerful like
high. Oh Lord, I know this kind of ran down our time. We definitely gonna have to do a part 2. But
Yeah.
before we end the show, I did have one more question. I really wanted to dive deep in just real quick. Just one, well, and then I had a question about how, well, I guess I'll ask you at the end about how we'll be able to, because a lot of us, I had 2 questions here. Uh-oh, she done left back out. Uh-oh, what's going on? Uh-oh, gotta get my sister back on here. Let's see what happened, y'all. Technical difficulties. Y'all see they be hating on us. They know we be spitting truth. They don't want to hear it. They don't want y'all to get connected to y'all spiritual gifts. We got a powerful sister on the show. So let's see what's going on. Give her a few. If you guys are enjoying this episode so far, put the firebox in the comments. Uh-oh. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get this last question out for this thing.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I wanted to see, well, I could just go ahead and we can just ask the last question and have to do a part 2. What are some ways that, well, I actually had 2 questions, but I put it together because it's the same one. Do you provide training? If so, how will we be able to start that with you?
Yeah. So in a couple of weeks here, we'll have a um, in-person training. It's a mini retreat. You get to stay in a forest for a couple of days to connect with nature. That's a Reiki levels 1 and levels 2 training. Okay, you become a practitioner at level 2. Okay, so that means you can use Reiki at a professional level if you choose to. An average Reiki session can run you anywhere from $95 to $100+ it's a beautiful way to be able to give healing for yourself, but as well as others in your family. And then also, if you want to use it in a professional way, to use it to make money as well. Um, on June the 8th and 9th, we will have a online training. We just completed one a week ago. So we have about maybe 30 to 35 people that we've worked with over the last couple months that are new Reiki practitioners. So June 8th and 9th will be online.
Mm-hmm.
The pricing of it is a significant drop if you do it online versus coming here. Of course, you have to pay for travel and all of that. We do have through the forest retreat resort. It's a real economical way to stay, and then also a very beautiful way to connect back with nature and your energy. So you can be trained in those Reiki's levels 1 and levels 2, and then go on to the master level to become Reiki master as well. We'll have a Reiki master class at the end of the year for those who have already been trained at level 1 and level 2. So if you want to take the class, you can email me or DM me at on Instagram at Dr. Iman Muhammad Ali, or you can email me at Iman, Iman, Be Well at Gmail. So Iman Be Well, Bewell at Gmail. And let me know you're interested in taking the Reiki training. Either if you want to come here, it's the 18th and the 19th of this month. Otherwise, it's going to be online the following month. And we do have a school that we're going to open at some point this year, inshallah, to go into some of these other sciences like telepathic communication, tuning in, and those types of things. Just as I was trained, I think it has been a great tool for me to navigate myself through life in general, not just about reading people, because it's really not about that. It's really about being able to understand what's happening in your life, so that you can navigate your life and move, in a way that's going to be the most beneficial for you. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be happening. So you can stay tuned for that. But you can follow me at IG at Dr. Iman Muhammad Ali. Yeah, so that's how you can get in touch with me if you want.
Yes. Praise be to Allah.
Yes,
Sister Iman. Did I say it wrong again?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay, Sister Iman. Sister Iman, thank you so very much for joining me today to discuss this beautiful topic, healing beyond medicine, exploring energy healing. We definitely have to come back there and do a part 2 because I still have some questions, girl.
I know.
Yes, but Allah is God. So we
Yeah.
gonna come back. I would also like to thank my amazing audience in Healing Tribe for joining us today. We are on a 90th show. Wow, praise be
Wow.
to Allah. I pray that this episode was informative, valuable, and healing to you all. Also, be sure to share, like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes on any of your favorite podcast station. Closing the Gap broadcast on Facebook, CTG broadcast on YouTube, and Healing with Angelica podcast on Facebook and YouTube to help spread this message of healing to those in need. Also, if you are ready to start your healing journey and don't know where to start, Healing with Angelica is here to assist. Get started today. You can do that by texting the word ready to 937-313-2466. Information to do that will be shown on the screen below, as well as the Healing Tribe merch. Also, a friendly reminder that any purchases that you make is to help to sustain future episodes. So just keep in mind, if you guys want to keep seeing Healing with Angelica podcast here, please support and give a generous donation. Also, if you or anyone you know is in need of healing, Healing with Angelica would like to send a special prayer to you. You can do that by texting the word prayer to 937-313-2466. Sister Iman, before we end the show, do you have any closing remarks for our audience today?
Oh, just the prayers for all the believers, prayers for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that we all, you know, fulfill that which Allah has put us on this earth for. Um, that's it. I mean, we're here and we're in the greatest time that has ever been, time that our ancestors and all the prophets wish that they could have seen. So let's make the best of it. Thank you so much for having me, Sister Angelica.
Thank you so much for joining me again. It was an honor. We'll have to come back to wrap it up for part 2.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I love you all. Thank you again. And you guys have a great day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Salam.